Hi guys, today we have laws of algebra of proposition. Okay, we have the number one law is the commutative law. So commutative law states that P and P is the same thing as Q and P. Okay, P or Q is the same thing as Q or P. Number two, just take note of that. Multiplication, that's the conjunction and disjunction. It doesn't respect the one that comes first, either P and Q, or of course you have the same truth value with Q or Q and P. Then P or Q have the central value with Q or P. Number two is the associative law. Associative law. Under associative law, we have P and brackets Q and R is the same thing as P and Q, then you displace R and R. It's taking Q to one bracket and leaving R to be there, and also P or Q or R is the same thing as P or Q or R. Okay? Then one thing you have to note about associative law is that the connectives are the same on both sides. We have and. We have or here, or and what, or. So we have conjunction throughout and disjunction throughout. Then if you want to form this law now, P and you bring in Q in the bracket and then displace R to be alone. Coming here, P or you bring in Q in one bracket and then displace R so that R will be alone. We have number three is the distributive law. Under distributive law, we have P and bracket Q or R. It is the same thing as P, okay, and P and Q. The and is affecting both Q and what? R. So this and is going to take Q first in one bracket, then or will come in. Back again, P and we now take R. So we have P and R. So we have P and Q, or is now between P and what? R. So that's it. So we have P or brackets Q and R is the same thing as P or Q in one bracket, and it's now the middle. Then the last bracket is P or R. P or R. So what you see there is we have and here, or here, we have or here, and we have what? And here. But the process of bringing out the parameters are exactly the same. Okay? We have the next law is idempotent law. Idempotent. Idempotent law says P and P is equal to P. That's truth and truth. Definitely will give you truth, which is the same thing as P. Okay? Force and force definitely will give you force. So we have P or P is also equal to P. That's idempotent law. Actually, that's law number 4. Then law number 5. Law number 5 is Law of absorption. Laws of absorption. Laws of absorption. When we have P and brackets Q or R. P and bracket P or R or Q. Let's say our Q. Okay? P and bracket Q or bracket P or Q is equal to P. So whenever you have and then of course there is P inside the bracket, we have P here, we have P here inside the bracket. The point is there will be an absorption of Q. That's Q will disappear so that we have P and P to give us what? P, as though we are talking about idempotent law. So that's the absorption. Also, P or bracket P and Q. Okay, Q will be absorbed so that the law will now be P or P, which is equal to what? P. So whenever you see a case like this, while operating with algebra or proposition, or trying to use algebra or proposition to prove a given compound statement, and then you see the same proposition outside the bracket and within the bracket here, just as this case, then anything here will be ignored such that P or P becomes equal to P, similar to what happens here. So that is the law of what? Absorption, whereby Q will be absorbed so that the function will return to idempotent law and it will have the same result. Okay, number 6. Number 6, we have the Morgan's law. The Morgan's law says that the negation of P and Q is equivalent to negation multiplied by P. We have negation affecting P, but you change the sign. If the sign is and, then the sign here will be or. So negation of P and change to or, then negation of Q. Okay? The negation of P and change to or, then the negation of what? Q. I have the negation of P or Q also is equivalent to the negation of P, the or change back to and, the negation of what? Q. Okay? We have the 7th law. The 7th law is actually the complement. The law of what? Complement. The laws of complement. So under laws of complement, I have P and negation P is equal to F. It's law of complement. P and negation P is equal to F, such that if P is truth, the negation of truth is what? False. Definitely truth and false is what? False. That's the law of complement. I have P or negation P is equal to truth. If P is truth, the negation of truth is false. Truth or false is what? Truth under or. Then the law of double negation, the negation of negation P definitely is equal to P. Okay? That's the law of double negation. The double negation of P is equal to what? P. So these 3 laws are known as the law of what? Complementation, or the law of complement. The last but not the least is number 8, called the law of identity. The law of identity. The law of identity. Okay? So under the law of identity, we have P and P and truth, P and truth is equal to what? P. It depends on what P is. Okay? P and truth is equal to P, because if P is truth, P and truth becomes truth, which is P. If P is false, if we have P to be false, false and truth has to be false, which is the same thing as you can see. False here, so P here, P here. P and truth is equal to what? P. Okay? Still under law of identity, P and false is equal to false. Okay? As far as and is concerned and false is concerned, anything and false has to give you what? False, because and goes with truth. Okay? Then the next is P or truth. As far as or is concerned, as far as truth is concerned, anything or truth has to be what? Truth. So P or truth, even if P is false, false or truth is still truth. Okay? So we have P or false. P or false depends on what P is. Okay? P or false depends on what P is, because if P is T, then P and truth or false will be truth. But if P is false, false or false becomes false, which is P. So P or false is equal to P, meaning that the answer to this depends on what P is. Okay? Alright, so these are the 8 laws of algebra of what? Proposition. So this law number 8, we can still establish it to form some other terms which I will explain now. Watch out. Alright, from the laws of identity, which is law number 8, we can derive all these terms and expressions we have here. Number 1, this is all. Anything or false depends on that thing. Anything, any proposition or F depends on that particular proposition. So the answer here is this proposition, negation P and Q. Okay? If this proposition is F, then F or F becomes F. If the proposition is true, F and truth or F becomes truth. So the answer to this combined proposition depends on this particular proposition here. Okay, so still the same case is here. Any proposition or F depends on that particular proposition. So the final answer to this combined proposition is depending on P and on Q. Okay, then coming here, any proposition or F, we're still having the same case here. Any proposition or F depends on that particular proposition. So we have P or Q as the answer here. This and. Any proposition and F must be F because of the word and. And goes with truth and truth to give you truth. Therefore, this proposition and false must be F, false. Here, this is truth. And then of course, any proposition and truth must be truth. Because any proposition or truth must be what? Truth. Because whenever truth is involved, truth or anything must be truth. This is truth already. Truth or whatever thing this is, this particular proposition, whatever the truth value of this proposition, the final answer has to be what? Truth, because this is a truth and this is all. Truth or anything is equal to what? Truth. So we have truth here. Okay? So we have the same case here. Anything, any proposition or truth must be truth. Any proposition or truth must be truth. So wherever you see this particular term in any algebra or proposition, you're trying to prove a particular proposition, trying to prove a particular theorem using algebra of what? Proposition. And you see something, or you came across something like this, you just have to write the answer to be what? T. Okay? Then anything and T depends on that. Because if this proposition is false, definitely false and the truth is false. If this proposition is T and T is what? T. So the truth value of this combined proposition depends on this particular proposition on the left hand side. So the answer becomes negation of P and what? Q. Finally, the negation of P or Q and the T. Because of the word and of course the final truth value depends on this particular proposition, because if this proposition is truth, then truth and truth becomes truth. If this proposition is false, false and truth becomes false. So the answer to this combined proposition depends on this particular proposition on the left side. So we have the negation of P or Q. So here is the additional terms and propositions to support law number 8 to expand it the more. Here comes the end of the lecture. Please subscribe for more. Thank you and God bless.